Hello and salam. Welcome to Muslim Viewpoint, a new podcast series powered by American Muslim Today, a groundbreaking non-profit digital newspaper which champions civic engagement. AMT informs and empowers the diverse voices of almost 30 million Muslims here in the US and other Western countries. I'm Rafat Malik. I'm AMT's editor-in-chief, and today we have an interview with New York-based Dr. Uzma Saeed, who serves as the founding president of the Eid Holiday Coalition, a non-profit which advocates for the two Muslim Eid holidays to be added to the school calendar across the country. She also gives her insights on efforts by members of New Jersey's East Brunswick Muslim community who are currently presenting their case in front of the district's board of directors to get parity with other religious holidays which are recognized, including Christmas, of course, and even Diwali. She spoke to our reporter Maya Gala.
I think, there has been a growing number of Muslim Americans over the past, many decades, and especially recently, we've seen that the American Muslim community is thriving. We are a fabric of our communities. We contribute so much to society at large, both within and outside of the school communities. So it's only pertinent and relevant that students, Muslim American students, feel like they have this sense of belonging within their school environment, in addition to their home base and their home communities. By having the recognition of Eid holidays, students really do feel that sense of belonging that their other peers and their classmates have. And by celebrating our diversity, the schools themselves are sending a strong message to all of their students that they value, diversity and inclusion and celebrate each one of their students and supports all of their students. So I think this is a trend. We've got over 3.45 million Muslim Americans. We've got, billions of Muslims across the world. And, there's two high holy days for Muslims, on the calendar. And, given that so many Americans celebrate, Christmas and Hanukkah, and there's so many other holidays that people are celebrating and that school districts traditionally recognize and are able to give students off for, I think it's very reasonable and timely that the schools now recognize Eid across the country to allow students to be able to really practice their faith with their families. Students, unfortunately, are constantly pulled into this push-pull momentum between having to choose between their faith and their education. And it's, really high time now that students have the opportunity to fully celebrate with their families without having the repercussions and the consequences of falling behind in their academics.
Right. And a perfect note to end on, at least right into my next question, which is, right to your point of students having to miss class because those holidays are not excused for them specifically in the calendar. So, but then you have the struggle from school boards who are also trying to meet the district's requirements for the amount of days that our students are in school. However, other schools surrounding the East Brunswick district have added the Eid holidays to their calendar. So should the school district really, prioritize these days and listen to these parents' concerns?
Absolutely. I think what you mentioned before is very valid. And I think that's all that the school district really needs to see is, since I would say 2014, there's been a lot of advocacy going on for the addition of Eid holidays. New York City schools, the largest school district in the state rather, had Eid holidays approved. Following that, we had tons of school districts across Long Island. We've been very active in helping school districts in New York and out of the state as well, across the country. We recently worked with Paramus as well. And there's over 25 school districts in New Jersey alone that have already accepted Eid as an official school district holiday. So what that says in itself is that there is a way to make it work. And all these school districts have to follow the same formula and the same requirements within the state to meet the requirements of days that they have to be in session for. And all of these districts have been able to do it. In Syosset, Long Island, which was the first school district in Long Island to accept and approve addition of three holidays, including both Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, Diwali, and Lunar New Year. They were able to add 3 additional holidays, 4 additional holiday calendar days without having significant disruption to their calendar. And there are ways to do it and still meet the requirements that are necessary by the state. So I think if the neighboring districts are doing it, I think it only makes sense that this school district follows suit as well. And they're going to send a strong message to their school community, to the parents, to the students, that they are really embracing and welcoming everyone from every faith.
Right. And so how should the group of parents effectively go about, voicing their concerns and making sure that the district listens to them?
So I think this is something that's very, very important. And we've seen parents in that community specifically come out and attend board meetings and show their advocacy and, really voice their concerns. And I think it's really important. And we see this throughout the country as well, where parents should continue to stay connected with their school communities. They should be involved at every level, whether it be the class level, the PTA level, board level, being a member of the community, active member of the community, which most Muslim Americans are. It's just you need to become more and more visible, and you should voice these concerns to the school board. The school boards are there essentially to work for the community, and they should really listen to the voices of the community, because this is exactly what the community wants and this is what the community needs. So essentially, the administration, the school boards should all be looking for ways to support not just the students, but also the parents and the community members. So it's really important that the parents have that communication with their school boards, with their superintendents, attend the board meetings, and really rally and petition for the addition of these holidays.
Yeah, and so then now I kind of want to talk to you more about specifically your organization, the Eid Coalition. So if you could tell me maybe if you have had any similar experience to this, concerning school districts or, just kind of anything really.
Absolutely. So the Eid Holiday Coalition was conceived in late 2016, early 2017. And since then, we have been working diligently to really help empower communities to get Eid holidays approved as official school district holidays. We have been really successful throughout Long Island, throughout New York State, and within the country as well, where we've worked with school districts in Pennsylvania, such as Tri-Frin. We've worked with large school districts in Virginia, such as Prince William County. We've worked with school districts within New York State and other areas near Syracuse, such as Jamesville, DeWitt. And, we've had a lot of successes, and this is because we have the formula to make this work. And, essentially we enable parents and community members and students and children to really be involved in the process and to really connect with their school community and really bridge that gap so that, the faculty, the administrators, the community members can see the relevance of these holidays, what it means to the children, how it impacts them. And with the empowerment of these community members, we've really seen a beautiful growth between the Muslim American community and their school communities. And we've seen tremendous reward in this. And, we've had a lot of successes. There's been some challenges in some districts, obviously, and it's a work in progress. We have some districts that approve it on the first go, and they have a small Muslim American community population, but they feel very strongly about diversity and inclusion and support for all their students, and they believe strongly in that, so then they support it and pass it. And we've had districts who have a large representation of students that are Muslim American, and they have not passed it, but then on the second attempt or the third attempt or the fourth attempt, they do end up passing it. So, it really is a beautiful thing to see the communities come together and work closely with their school communities.
And so you mentioned you work with some districts before. So what does that usually look like? What is that process? What do you guys do? How do you engage?
So essentially, school districts and community members in different school districts reach out to us when they're seeking to have the Eid holiday approved. We share all of our protocol, all of our paperwork, all of the logistics. We sort of do a training session with them and go over the logistics on how to get started, how does this work, and how to really give them the tools that are necessary to make this a success. We also just guide them along the way as questions arise as they're attending different board meetings and as they're having these correspondences with their board members, with the community members, and we continue to guide them along the way and answer their questions and make sure that this can be a success for them, and troubleshoot, in different ways. And again, a lot of it is providing support. If they're not successful the first time, we reinforce that this is, it's a marathon, it's not a sprint, those kind of things. And then, sharing the success stories is really, really helpful. And the most important thing is, having that representation by the students, because this is really who all of this initiative and this work is for. So we continue to have the students engaged with the community, and the students show up at the board meetings. They talk about what Eid means to them, what Ramadan means to them, and how important the acceptance of this holiday on the school calendar is for them and what it really means to them.
Yeah, so can you tell me about some of the successes and then some about some of the pushback that you've had in your advocating?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I mentioned before, in the first year, we had many districts that approved, and a lot of times it would be districts that are neighboring to each other. And if one district approves, then the next district, kind of follows suits. But then again, the demographics are different in each district and each school board is different. Some districts are challenging because they have more than one school board. So you have to petition to the high school board, the middle school, the elementary board. So it is a cumbersome project. And it is, it does take a lot of time. So again, you have to remember that everybody's volunteering. The parents are volunteering their time. The community members are volunteering their time. So sometimes it becomes very challenging, especially if you have multiple boards that you have to deal with. So it has to be a unanimous decision. So those are some of the hurdles. Some of the school districts just have the one school board, so it becomes a little bit easier. The largest school district, like I mentioned, New York City, the boroughs fell under one umbrella. Long Island, for example, we have, over 100 school districts, and each district has to be approached individually. So, that becomes a little bit challenging where you can't just have it uniformly approved. Same as New Jersey, same as other states. So again, the districts, it's very individual. The dynamics are very individual in each district. So some have been easier than others. And some of the challenges often are just from it being a new process. There may be lack of awareness. What does this really actually mean? And a lot of it is just promoting education and having that conversation between the boards and the faculty and the school community and the children that are affected by this, to really bring that level of awareness of what this time of year really means to Muslim American students, how, the holy month of Ramadan, the significance of it, and the two Eid holidays that are celebrated by Muslims throughout the country and throughout the world. We end up having, with continued engagement, we end up having more and more success stories.
Right. And then so if any, what has the pushback been like?
So the pushback is usually just focused around making sure that we're meeting all of the requirement days by the state that the school has to be in session, which again, then we have, the answers to that, the counter to that we have many school districts that are able to do that, whether it be with addition of superintendent days. There's lots of different ways of going about it while still preserving the holidays, because sometimes the pushback that we get is that nobody wants to shorten any of their breaks, whether it be winter break or spring break. People want to keep those intact, and we have been able to do that successfully for so many years. So that's another thing that we just, show the evidence of all the other districts that are able to do that without sacrificing any of the holidays. And then we also, educate them how the dates vary, the holidays vary based on every year, because it's based on the lunar calendar. So, there are going to be times when the holidays will fall on the weekend. So it won't affect, that calendar year as much. So we say there's easy calendar years and there's more difficult calendar years where many of the holidays can fall on the school calendar. And there'll be years where it may be, for the past several years, either other was always in the summer. So there was only one holiday that was falling on the calendar year. So all of these conversations really helps the community, the school community, to understand, the intricacies of the calendar and how it is possible. And then, some of the other pushback is always about, if making exception for one group, have to make exceptions for others. And we say that, we welcome diversity and inclusion for all children, for all the communities. And we have examples, amazing examples in New York and in other states where all the holidays have been added. Similarly, in Virginia, there were Jewish holidays that were added. There were Diwali was added, Lunar New Year was added, and Eid holidays were added. So, there's no reason why this can't be done when we already have it working in so many districts throughout the country.
Right. And then so why is it so important to you, to Muslims, to the community, to advocate for these holidays to be included, to advocate for the community to be included?
There's so many reasons why this is so important to American Muslims, just to feel that sense of belonging, just to make sure that people see the value of Muslim Americans, that we are, a part of the fabric of this country. We are, hardworking citizens. We are, unfortunately, we've had to deal with a lot of backlash and a lot of Islamophobia in the wake of 9/11. And since then, and so we have been working very hard to kind of prove ourselves to everybody. And this is just another way where, we can feel accepted. The children really need to feel valued. And I think as the community grows, as the children age, you can see how difficult it becomes on them in the older years, because in high school, their curriculum is so intense where they may not have the luxury of just taking a day off and then trying to catch up on their work. They are, so affected by this absence, and they feel like they are so behind that they don't want to have that academic decline. The stakes are too high for them. So what happens as a result? They end up sacrificing their faith. After fasting for an entire month, they can no longer celebrate and feast with their family. They can't attend prayers with their family. They can't receive the gifts, with their families. They can't, enjoy a nice meal with their families because they're afraid that they're going to fall behind or that they are going to miss an examination. They have these college level courses that they're taking. There's a lot of academic, rigor in high school. And so we see this very commonly, that as the students age, it becomes more and more difficult. And we don't think that Muslim American students should have to choose between their academia and their faith.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this week. From me and Maya, be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at American Muslim Today. And if you'd like to read more about this story and access more digital content, please feel free to check out our website at AmericanMuslimToday.com. Bye for now.